Welcome to IMTS. My name is Kathy Webster, and you're watching IMTS TV. There is a lot to see at the show, and a lot of people ask, where should I start? Here are 2 tips to help you navigate IMTS. Number 1, know that IMTS is spread across 4 buildings, north, south, east, and west, all under one roof and linked by the Grand Concourse. Number 2, we group technologies into 10 categories called pavilions. The 10 pavilions help visitors compare similar technologies, products, and services. The East Building houses 4 pavilions, and our partner, Hanover Messe's 4 co-located shows on 2 levels. Level 2, open from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. On Level 3, open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The East Building houses a restaurant, a beer garden, and the IMTS store, where we'll be giving away an exclusive item from 1 to 4:30 p.m. while supplies last. The West Building houses the Additive Manufacturing Pavilion, the Tooling and Work Holding Pavilion, and AMT's Emerging Technology Center, focused on additive manufacturing. West Level 3 is open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the West Level 3 Annex is open 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The North Building, open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., houses fabricating and lasers, gear generation, abrasive machining and sawing, and several special attractions. AMT's Emerging Technology Center focused on digital transformation, GIE Media's Today's Technology Center, Modern Machine Shop's Top Shops booth, SME's Smart Manufacturing Hub, and the Smart4 Student Summit, located on Level 1. And finally, the South Building, open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., is home to the Metal Cutting Pavilion. For a full list of building hours, visit the About the Show tab on IMTS.com. And remember, download the IMTS mobile app to access your My Show planner, to find exhibitors, make your itinerary, and navigate from one exhibitor to another. Have some tips? Share yours with us using the hashtag IMTS2018. And now it's time to wake up with our IMTS TV host, Emily Barta, as Good Morning IMTS starts right now.
Wake up IMTS. It's Monday, September 10th, 2018. And this is Good Morning IMTS. And now, live from the IMTS TV studio in Chicago, Illinois, here's your host, Emily Barta.
Good morning and welcome to day 1 of IMTS 2018, where dreamers and doers connect. I'm your host, Emily Barta, and this is Good Morning IMTS. It was a cold, cloudy, windy, and rainy weekend here in Chicago, but the skies have lifted and the sun is shining on the start of IMTS 2018. Expect a high today of 72 degrees, but the highlight of your day will be exploring the 1.4 million square feet of exhibition space, the 2,400 exhibitors, networking with your peers, attending conference sessions, and searching and seeing and experiencing all of the innovation found throughout IMTS 2018. On tap for today are numerous activities and events happening throughout McCormick Place. The opening ceremony will be held at 9:30 a.m. on the main stage in the Grand Concourse. Hear from the president of AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, Doug Woods, as he discusses the power of collaboration for innovation, as well as from the chairman of the managing board of Deutsche Messe, Dr. Jochen Kuckler, as he talks about how Hanover Messe comes to the U.S. Following these 2 presentations is the ribbon cutting, signaling the start of IMTS 2018. Also on the main stage is Making Chips. Join Jim Carr, Jason Zenger, and their panel of industry experts as they discuss what are we doing to educate and onboard the next generation of manufacturing leaders. This podcast will be live on the main stage in the Grand Concourse at 12 noon today. Did you hear the news? For the first time ever, IMTS will feature not one, but two emerging technology centers. The ETC has become a must-visit exhibit and is renowned around the world for showcasing state-of-the-art and disruptive technologies that will impact manufacturing in the years to come. In the North Building, booth 236700, the Digital Transformation ETC will showcase how digital technology is beginning to transform the advanced manufacturing industry. Highlights include a physically and digitally connected machine tool, a robot arm, and a coordinate measuring machine. In the West Building, booth 431609, the Additive Manufacturing ETC will showcase demonstrations of the newest breakthroughs in materials, speed, and technologies, as recently developed by Oak Ridge National Laboratories, public-private collaborations, and exhibiting additive manufacturers. So be sure to visit both ETCs on your list of things to do here at IMTS 2018. The Hanover Messe's USA's Solutions Theater is designed to keep you inspired and to give you valuable tips that are actionable and easy to implement. Each day, the Solutions Theater will provide educational programming such as presentations, case studies, demonstrations, and special events on topics ranging from IIoT to fluid power to cybersecurity to artificial intelligence and more. Check out the Solutions Center on level 2 of the East Building. It's right in the middle of the expo floor in booth 121847. And if you would like any information on these or other attractions happening at IMTS 2018, just be sure to visit imts.com. IMTS Shorts are a short look into tips and tools that you can use to guide you through the expo floors and enhance your experience at IMTS 2018. In today's episode, Adam Gambrell talks to us about the new show hours.
There are new show hours for 2018 that vary by building and level. East Building Level 2 and West Building Level 3 Annex are open from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. East Building Level 3 and West Building Level 3 are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The North and South buildings are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the SmartForce Student Summit, located on Level 1 of the North Building, is open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For a complete rundown of building hours, visit the About the Show tab on imts.com.
Hello there, welcome to IMTS 2018. Did you know that there are conferences happening all around McCormick Place? Do you want to learn how to incorporate lasers into your manufacturing processes to stay competitive in this high-tech market? Well, then the Industrial Laser Conference is for you. Tell us more, Bill.
Well, it's really cool. We've got the folks from LIA, the Laser Industry Association, that have put together a one-day track kind of explaining how lasers, the price points are coming down, the applications are expanding. They've got some of their engineers, some of their people that are currently using, some of their members that are currently using lasers in their shops. So it's a really cool and easy way to get an overview of what lasers might be able to do for your factory.
So we will see you at the Industrial Laser Conference on Wednesday in the West Building. It is impossible to start an IMTS without speaking with Peter Eelman, who is the Vice President of Exhibitions and Business Development for AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology. Peter, IMTS 2018, what's the theme?
I think the biggest thing that visitors will notice this year is the speed that technology is coming to market. Things that were just ideas only a few years ago are already mainstream. You're going to see that throughout the show. It's a theme that everywhere you look, things are coming to market quicker, technology is moving faster, and that the digital revolution is here.
Well, the other thing that's been speedy is all of these numbers that continually increase. I understand there's some records this year.
Oh my goodness, we're in a very good space in manufacturing. Manufacturing technology is finishing a couple of very, very good years. The growth is outstanding, very strong in the United States and throughout the world, really, and it's being reflected in IMTS. We are going to see at this show the largest number of exhibitors, the largest number of individual booths, the largest square footage, and we hope the largest registration.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed.
I think we're well on our way.
We are well on the way. If we have our normal crowd here at IMTS, maybe by tomorrow we can have a little announcement on air.
Well, we'll have to keep you posted, and you'll have to stay tuned to IMTS TV, found at imts.tv online. Now, when visitors approach IMTS, I understand there's some new entrance units. Talk to us about how IMTS 2018 is graphically or physically welcoming the visitors.
I'll tell you what, when we talked about the speed of technology coming to market and becoming mainstream, there's no better example than our display pieces, our entrance units. Our entrance units feature the marrying of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, with regular normal manufacturing, all put together just in the way that you would a normal entrance unit for a trade show. So something that was as exotic and unusual and exciting as 3D printing, that's part of the family now here at IMTS.
Well, also part of the family is the growth and expansion of the amount of space taken up here at McCormick Place. A brand new hall, level 2 of the East building. What's there?
Well, I wouldn't call it brand new. Level 2 in the East Hall used to be a big part of IMTS, but we haven't occupied it in several years. It used to be tooling and work holding before we built the West building here. Bet you didn't know that.
I did know that. I stand corrected. I understand the point you're making.
But
What's
here's
there
the
now?
here's
What's
the
there
real
now?
here's the real point. The real point is we're now occupying all of McCormick Place. We are the first show to be on every level, in every hall, in every ballroom. The show has grown to a magnificent size. And in the lower level in the East building, we have our Hanover Mesa Partners expansion, and we also have additional CAD/CAM components. It's just an IMTS growth area. And now the entire East building is filled, as it was many, many years ago. South building, North building, West building, all completely filled.
So all completely filled, and some attractions are growing. The Emerging Technology Center is not new, but new this year, there are 2 ETCs. North building, West building. Let's start with North building. What can be found there?
North building is our traditional spot for the Emerging Technology Center, and this year we've decided to focus that area on the digital transformation in manufacturing. There are a number of exhibits there that feature the digital trend, the digital thread that is now throughout manufacturing, and it will walk you through how you can take your company and move it forward in this train of technology that's moving on. We've also got a new Emerging Technology Center in the West building. The Emerging Technology Center West is now strictly devoted to additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing has become such a big part of IMTS, and again, returning to that theme of everything is moving faster. Just a few years ago, additive was part of the Emerging Technology Center. Now, not only is it an Emerging Technology Center, there's more than 30,000 square feet at IMTS of additive companies selling equipment just like every other exhibitor at IMTS.
Well, one of the attractions that can be found in the Emerging Technology Center in the West building is the Die in the Day scavenger hunt. That's new. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, in much of the theme that we talked about our entrance units, where you're taking different technologies and putting them together, everything isn't going to be made by an additive process. It's going to be married to traditional manufacturing. It's going to be built together with design, and that's what we're trying to show in our Die in a Day display, where we're actually doing some 3D printing parts, moving them to different exhibitors throughout the hall, finishing it, and by the end of the day, a finished part will be delivered by 4 o'clock every day.
Well, you know what else needs to be delivered all throughout the day are the visitors going amongst the 4 buildings of McCormick Place, since we're bigger than ever. And a new way to do that is the ride experience featuring Ollie.
That's right.
What's this about?
That's right. Many of you who have been to IMTS might remember Ollie was introduced as a concept at the last IMTS. Ollie is an autonomous vehicle, partly 3D printed, partly made in traditional manufacturing process. It is shuttled using IBM Watson technology. You don't have a driver. It goes from the north building over to the east building and back, and visitors will be able to hop on board and get the experience of what is actually going to be introduced at many college campuses and various places around the country in the next year. Ollie has become mainstream. That's a product of Local Motors.
So exciting. And that's what IMTS is known for, bringing concepts in, figuring things out, experimenting, and then it's a huge success when it gets to go out and become a part of the world.
IMTS is really bringing ideas to market. We say our big theme for this show, where dreamers and doers connect. A lot of this product, a lot of these technologies, they were dreams, but the doers took over, and now they're part of our market.
Well, and one of the great things about IMTS is it focuses on the entire manufacturing industry, and it focuses on any company, any shop of any size or shape or specialty, but there is something specific for job shops called the Top Shops Workshop. What's that about?
That's right. One of our key visitor groups at IMTS has always been what's called a job shop or a contract shop, and there are so many in the Chicago area alone, in suburban Chicago, that we decided as a show to honor this group and put some programs together for them. So throughout the show there'll be various conferences, programs that are put together under the Top Shops banner so that our local job shop community and indeed contract shops throughout the country can take advantage of it. The big day is Thursday in W375, I think, over in the West Building. There'll be conferences, meetings, and ongoing through the show. There are a number of promotions for job shops, our partners in IMTS.
Well, today's Technology Center is not new to IMTS 2018, but what is new within the TTC?
Well, you're going to see an airplane. A little small personal airplane. You can, maybe you could take it home with you and
Can we have
fly
a
out of
ride?
McCormick Place. Well, maybe you should take the first ride in it. We'll go
I
right out
might.
through the concourse. Well, we're known for taking the car out through the
Exactly,
concourse.
we have to-
Maybe we should just take the plane
We
out
have
through
to
the
show it
concourse.
works.
But you'll see a nice replica of how the plane was constructed, what the new technology that was involved in design, through the parts, through the assembly, through the building of the airplane. It's really a cool display.
And if you want to see that cool display, it is located in the North Lobby, which is booth 236900. All right, also in the North Building is the Smart Manufacturing Hub. What's that?
Our partners with SME have come through the exhibitor base and put together a whole bunch of programs that you can take in bite-sized pieces. You can come to the Smart Manufacturing Hub and sign up for short 10-minute presentations just to get a little slice of some new technology and some of the ideas that are out there. There's a schedule posted outside. It's kind of a drop-in system, so you don't have to commit a whole day to your conferences and not have time to walk around IMTS. But if you look at it and say, hey, I'd really like to know something more about that topic, stop in, get your 10 minutes, and move on your way.
Well, speaking of conferences, there are 9 conferences happening all around McCormick Place. The largest and the longest running is the IMTS conference. What can we find there? Why is it a benefit to drop into those sessions?
IMTS conference has been a partner of ours in IMTS. We built the conference up. As you mentioned, there are a number of other conferences along with it. The show has become the manufacturing experience, the full manufacturing experience. What can you do in these conferences? Pretty much everything. Everything to do with the pavilions. They are keyed by our pavilions. So if you're deep into some metal cutting questions, maybe some new materials, that's the place to go and say, yeah, I want to machine some titanium. How do I do it? Dig in at the conference sessions.
Now, the conference sessions are designed for people that are currently in the workforce. But what about the students? We have the Student Summit. What can we find there this year?
The Student Summit is now the entire lower level, or it's known as the C Hall, in the North Building. All of the exhibits are devoted to presenting our manufacturing industry to the next generation. And in fact, I just was looking at our general sign-up database. It appears that if everybody shows up, which we think they will, the weather's good, we should have almost 20,000 students from local area schools, bussed in from the tri-state area and beyond, that are coming to IMTS to get exposed to the industry, learn. We've got the Student Summit is divided into several areas where students can experience different types of technology in design, in manufacturing, in marrying those two technologies, and the computer side of the business.
Well, completely not technology related, but a fun attraction that is here at IMTS almost all the time is the IMTS balloon, which isn't just at IMTS, it travels all over the place. What are we doing with the balloon this year?
Well, you know, a lot of people say that Peter and IMTS are full of hot air, and the hot air balloon makes it true. So we are full of hot air. Our hot air balloon is going to make its appearance really just over our shoulders here in a few hours if the wind dies down a little bit. But it'll be here all week. It has been our signature for many years. In fact, this is the third version. Every time we change the logo, we change the hot air balloon. But it does make a trip around the country in the show year and in the off year, and many of our viewers will recognize that the IMTS balloon is on their wall because they have their IMTS calendar every year.
Well, what else should we keep an eye out for here at IMTS 2018?
Well, I think as I mentioned in our open, the biggest thing is have your technology hat on. When you're walking around at this IMTS, this is new stuff. We were walking through even from day one of move-in and saying, wow, that's new. Wow, that's really new. We've got everything from voice-activated machinery to new computer techniques, new design techniques. We're showing robotic cells, all kinds of things that really advance the manufacturing plant as it exists today. We're seeing a transformation at a speed we haven't seen in many, many years, and that's why we're excited, because we think this show can really be a catalyst to really get manufacturers on the track and say, you know what, time to do things differently.
Well, you heard it from Peter Ehlman, the Vice President of Exhibitions and Business Development for AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology. IMTS 2018 is all about speed, and this week is going to go by really, really fast. So be sure to check out information on all of the attractions that Peter mentioned and everything that can be found at IMTS on imts.com, so you can plan your schedule and make sure that you see and do everything that you want to this week. Well, thank you for joining us for Good Morning IMTS on day one of IMTS 2018. Be sure to tune into IMTS TV online at imts.tv, where we are streaming around the clock with new content added every single day. On IMTS Report today at 4 p.m., we will be recapping the day's events, as well as speaking to Titan Gilroy, who is the founder of Titans in CNC and the founder of Titans of CNC Academy, about his new CNC education program. But first, coming up next is Shop Talk. Well, Bill Herman speaks with Pete Zielinski, who is the editor-in-chief of Additive Manufacturing magazine, about the latest trends in additive manufacturing. On behalf of everyone here at IMTS TV, have a wonderful day one of IMTS 2018, where dreamers and doers connect.
Welcome to Shop Talk. My guest today is Pete Zielinski, the editor-in-chief of Additive Manufacturing magazine. Pete, obviously here at IMTS, additive manufacturing is a huge deal. What's new in additive manufacturing?
One new thing that's really significant is this show. The Additive Manufacturing Pavilion has tripled in size, tripled the number of exhibitors since the last IMTS, moved to a new location in the West Hall. Additive manufacturing is now a significant, established part of this show.
Now, you and the other writers at Additive Manufacturing magazine, you have an opportunity to visit the manufacturers, to go out and see how they're implementing the technology. Where do you think people are with adapting additive manufacturing technology? What are you seeing when you're out in the field?
Yeah, so there's a change in tone, I would say. I'd characterize it as heads up versus heads down. As recently as a couple years ago, the last IMTS, a lot more companies were experimenting with additive, developing their capabilities in this area to a much, and it was a heads up sort of situation. Heads up in terms of, look what we're learning, look at what we can do, look what we're figuring out. Now it's heads down because they're busy. They've, to a large extent, figured it out. They're applying it to their applications, their customers' needs. A great example, recently visited a pretty well-known company in the die casting space. They were in experimentation mode with metal additive for quite a while, figuring out to what extent they could apply it to die cast tooling. Well, now that's where they're at. They're using it. It's an established part of their process. It's part of how they solve customer problems. It's part of the way they do business, and additive is now what they do, and they've got their heads down doing it.
Is it just a tool for the large companies that can afford it, or are you seeing it at mid-range and smaller shops as well?
Well, so when you say additive manufacturing, you're covering a lot of ground, and certainly there are major manufacturers, OEMs, names we know very well, that have internal additive manufacturing programs and have products they are developing, often green sheet type product lines where they are committing to doing much of the manufacturing additively. Those are big companies. Small companies, though, particularly on the machines for applying engineered polymers in 3D printing, certainly it's very accessible to smaller companies, and it's a complement to their established conventional manufacturing processes. So your question, is it large or small companies? I guess the answer is yes.
So does that mean that additive has arrived? Are we getting closer to the point where we're seeing the promise of additive manufacturing realized?
Yeah, has additive arrived? I'd say not yet. We're pretty far from realizing the full promise that additive can deliver. You know, a lot of the successes so far have been low-hanging fruit, have been applications where additive is clearly the right answer and delivers a really substantial win to a particular challenge or problem. What we haven't seen so much of yet are the cases where additive is maybe not the huge win in one area, but it delivers savings in a certain area along with savings in lots of other parts of the process and in lots of other parts of the value chain, so that all of those savings together add up to something substantial. We'll see that more and more as companies more and more learn how to take an enterprise-wide approach to additive, but as yet, additive is still far from reaching the promise that it seems likely to deliver.
Well, you talked a little bit about the implementation between small and big companies. Could you summarize where you see, based on your experience with the magazine, where additive is right now? And what are the things that you and your writers are paying attention to at this point in its adaptation?
Yeah, right now. So tooling is a clear win for 3D printing, and it is a way that many companies make their first strides into succeeding with making functional parts, making their own tooling used internally, which could be like assembly jigs or special assembly hand tools, dies, molds, inspection tooling. So all of that is sort of an obvious choice for additive. From there, it's, additive 3D printing for a long time, for decades, it was conceived of as a prototyping technology, still using it for prototypes, but that prototyping more and more and very naturally transitions into short-run production, and those shorter runs getting longer and longer. So where is additive at right now? A lot of tooling and a rapidly increasing forays into production parts, end-use production parts.
A moment ago, you talked about the metals. Is the additive technology important for IMTS with our all metals technology?
So a couple things. Additive manufacturing brings design freedom. And we say that, and often what you imagine is geometric freedom, and it does bring that. We're set free of right angles, we can do much more organic shapes. But an equally important, and maybe more important, freedom from additive is the material freedom. It's the possibility to work with metals that might be difficult to machine. Additive provides an alternate way that might be easier to use really challenging metals. It provides a way also to develop metals that maybe can't be deployed any other way. There are nuanced examples of this. Titanium 6-4 that is stronger than other versions of this alloy but can only be applied additively. Some pretty significant developments such as metal matrix composites, lighter and stronger than steel. Again, also only can be applied additively. So a lot of freedom in the area of metals, as you're asking. But is metals the sole relevance of additive at this show, historically a metalworking show? And the answer is really no, because another thing about additive is it blurs the line between where you use metal and where you use plastic. A lot of times we spec a part as metal just because to use plastic would call for some kind of tooling, a mold, for example. 3D printing is part making without a mold, and so it brings the opportunity to use engineered polymers in a greater range of applications, maybe in place of metal. There's an exhibitor at the show this year that is introducing a relatively lower cost 3D printer for applying carbon fiber reinforced polymer. So a non-metal material that could easily be a replacement for metal in a lot of applications.
You touched a moment ago on the prototyping and additive's legacy of being understood for prototyping, now moving into shorter runs and longer runs. The knock on additive not too long ago, maybe as recently as IMTS 2014, was that speed issue. Are you seeing that being solved?
So yeah. So not too recently is the descriptor, not too long ago is the descriptor of a lot of the knocks on additive. This technology is changing rapidly, and a lot of the seeming shortcomings are being incrementally overcome. You ask about speed. Yeah, this technology, Bill, is moving toward production. We're seeing that, and in the ways that we focus on this technology in our publication, we're going to emphasize that more and more. There are solutions available now or coming in the next year or two that do substantively transition additive into a range of production rate, production economy that crosses over thresholds we wouldn't have associated with additive previously. High volume production, no, and I think we're a long, long way away from that. But additive moving into mid-range production applications and becoming a viable solution there, yeah, that's what's coming. That's
exciting. Well, let's stay on that topic then. What do you see that is next for additive? Where do you see that it's headed?
Yeah. I'll just continue with the production vein. Larger scale production is where this is headed. Certainly there are all manner of users of additive now, using it for functional parts, using it for parts that go out with their product, assembled into their product, shipped to their customers. But it's still almost always lower quantities right now. And we tend to associate it with lower quantities, and that's a strength. It's a cost-effective way to do short runs. But additives speed is increasing with some of the platforms in development now, and additive as a viable production solution, particularly for parts with a little bit of intricacy where the conventional manufacturing processes would have to involve assembly as well. We're going to see additive become accepted and become mainstream in a lot of applications like that.
Well, we have time for one more question. And now you mentioned earlier the additive manufacturing pavilion over in the West building. Where else could visitors to IMTS go to see additive technology?
So EOS has its Additive Minds conference Wednesday afternoon. Our publication, Additive Manufacturing, is holding its Additive Manufacturing Conference. This is a day-and-a-half event, Tuesday, all day Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. We're the hosts, along with AMT, the organizers of IMTS. And we've packed a lot into the conference this year. We're talking about business culture issues related to additive, safety considerations, design issues in additive manufacturing, making tooling, making parts. We're going to cover a lot. If you're seeing this on Monday, there's still time to register. We get an early start on Tuesday. Starts 8 o'clock Tuesday morning. As I say, all day Tuesday, half the day Wednesday, the Additive Manufacturing Conference.
And you're moving away from purely technical deep dives. You talked about the business reasons and some of those other, a nice overview into how it's melding into the shops.
So that's the beauty, is that there are users now, and we can and we can bring them in, and they can talk about the, it's just additive is not a plug-in replacement for other modes of manufacturing. Additive is it's a process change that entails engineering changes and culture changes, and you really can't talk about the technology without talking about all of these other issues that go into using that technology to realize its promise.
That sounds exciting. We're glad you're here. Appreciate all the information. This has been Shop Talk. Our guest today has been Pete Zielinski, the editor-in-chief for Additive Manufacturing Magazine. For IMTS TV, I'm Bill Herman.